But first, what will John Stossel, oh my God, look at that, have to say about his new book? We're going to make him read the whole thing out loud next. So do you think the government can solve our problems? John Stossel says no, they can't, which oddly enough happens to be the title of his newest book. No, they can't. Why Government Fails But Individuals Succeed is packed with more myth-busters than a myth-buster convention. And like my cousin Seth, it came out on Tuesday. He's been with us all night, so let's talk about his book. He even brought a sign. And look how Jesse loves that sign. Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry,
Swank
Jesse.
on the other end of it.
So now, are you going to bring that to every talk show?
I'm going on a 20-city book tour. Every airport, I'm taking this with me.
You should buy a seat for that. And then when anybody wants to sit down, you just point at the seat. No, you can't. That's for my sign. My sign talks to me.
The no you can't refers to the Obama campaign and how they won. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And we came to mean government, but government can't.
No. Well, your point is, and I dropped my pen over there, it's a difference between thank you. The difference between intuition and reality. You kind of split it up in your book. That what your intuition or what you want to believe that government can do is then rejected by what you find out later to be true. Is that kind of what the book...
Yes, and that's why government, Thomas Jefferson said, it's the natural progress of things for government to grow. And I think it comes from intuition that it fails again and again, but whenever the scary thing happens, after 9/11, oh, government has to take over airline security. Because we grew up with mommy and daddy who took care of us, and our ancestors grew up with the tribal leader who said, here's when we're going to harvest the fruit, and if you didn't listen to them, they died and we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So we're programmed to trust the central planners.
Yeah.
But the central planners are not good in a society of 300 million people or a world of 7 billion people.
Well, here's the thing. My problem with, and I'm with you on all of this, the problem with the debate in my mind is when you have big government versus, say, individual freedom, responsibility, it always boils down to you're mean, the individual is mean, and they're nice. Anybody that is for centralized planning or big government means that they're looking out for those less fortunate. That's always going to the debate. For example, in your book, you talk about minimum wage. It doesn't matter how many facts you have about what harm minimum wage does. Nobody's going to listen, right? Because they just think that if you lower minimum wage, that's mean.
Right, or if you get rid of it, that's mean. You want to hurt poor people. And
which I do, but that's irrespective of this book. Anyway.
But the remarkable thing is there are all these greedy employers who want to pay people as little as possible, and only about 5% of the country makes minimum wage. So somehow, voluntarily, the employers are paying more because they have to in a competitive market to get the workers they want.
Yeah.
And that's a better way to set wages. And by having a higher minimum wage, it's nice for those workers who get the raise.
Yeah.
But it's horrible for all the people who don't get a job in the first place.
Because
it's why nobody's pumping your gas in a gas station. There are no movie ushers. There are no entry-level jobs because the government made them illegal.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I always thought that was a good thing because I was thinking that I'm getting more out of it by pumping my own got, but I'm not actually. Some guy just lost his job and I'm still paying the same amount for gas that I did before. Well, actually, much, much more. You were talking about healthcare and competition, and you talk about LASIK. And like LASIK was something that just came out of nowhere. Is that why do you use that as an example of I guess successful healthcare?
Because healthcare has been wrecked even before Obamacare because other people pay.
Yeah.
Because government granted tax deductions for job insurance, which is just nuts because people leave their jobs. And we're just used to other people paying. We don't even know what stuff costs. You never say, gee, doc, what does the MRI cost? Does some other place do it more cheaply? But the one tiny pocket where there's free market in medicine, there are a couple cosmetic surgeries, another LASIK eye surgery. The prices come down.
Right.
The quality goes up. The doctors suck up to the customers. They give you their phone numbers and their email addresses, and they make it nice.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. It's like if you look at LASIK, it's almost like looking at the evolution of the DVD player or VH. Everything always just gets better. But the only place where it doesn't happen is anything that's that you don't know the price. If you went into a supermarket and you didn't know the cost of what was in there, you wouldn't care. So you would just walk out with, you'd let all your groceries die.
Well, actually, they pay 80%, so you pay 20%. You still buy the most expensive stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But a few years ago, the Detroit Medical Center bragged, we're using barcodes to track patients' records now. Aren't we wonderful? And everybody clapped. Supermarkets did it for Coke and Pepsi 30 years ago. Medical records are more important than Coke and Pepsi, but...
Not for me. I love my Coke and Pepsi. All right, the new book. I gotta go. No, they can't. It's available everywhere. Pick it up. I've read it already. Don't leave. Don't you leave. We've got more. Stay back.